Peace everybody, back with another video. Everything about this is irregular. Ex-judge tapped to review Flynn case blasts Trump DOJ. So this is about Michael Flynn's case, and of course, as you know, he was exonerated by Donald Trump because the Obama administration had put him in jail for no reason at all, just when he was about to expose all the lies and everything. So they decided, well, we're going to make Donald Trump fire Flynn. So they forced him to do that. So Donald Trump fired Michael Flynn. He was going to jail for a long time, but 3 years later he got out. And Donald Trump exonerated him. And as you can see, here is Michael Flynn himself, who is wrongly accused of things that he never did wrong. A former judge selected to advise on a path forward in a criminal case against Michael Flynn is accusing the Justice Department of exercising a gross abuse of prosecutorial power to protect an ally of President Donald Trump, distorting known facts and legal principles to shield Flynn from a jail sentence. Not true, because Donald Trump knew what was going on, and of course, you know, the former judge, he selected to advise on path forward in a criminal case against Michael Flynn. So under the Obama administration, they decided, well, we're gonna have him arrested and everything, taken to court and this and that. They only heard their side, but they never heard General Flynn's side at all, because it was a one-sided show with the Obama administration, and that's it. And now they're accusing Donald Trump of abusing his prosecutorial power. How? If Donald Trump is not with the shadow governments, that means he's a patriot and he knows the real truth of what's really going on. The former federal judge John Gleeson skewered Attorney General Bill Barr's handling of the case, describing it as an irregular effort that courts would scoff at where they subject anyone other than an ally of Trump. The 82-page exoneration featured a painstaking reconstruction of the Flynn case and accused DOJ of contradicting its own arguments and predicts to justify dropping the case against Flynn. Well, you know, they had a right to drop General Flynn's case because he was innocent. He had all the evidence of what Obama was doing in his administration too. He had all the evidence. And yet they still put him in jail. They unmasked General Flynn for no reason at all. They had no right to do that. The former federal judge, Judge Gleeson, he skewered Attorney General Barr's handling of the case. So how is General Barr in the wrong? How is that? He's helping Donald Trump clean out the swamp, like Donald Trump said he was going to do. Even recognizing that the government is entitled to difference in assessing the strength of its case, these claims are not credible, Gleeson wrote. Indeed, they are preposterous. Also, now the case is not credible? Then why is General Flynn out of prison then? Tell me that. This is a crooked judge you got to deal with every day. Crooked judges, alright? They will make up any kind of lie they can to get innocent people in jail for no reason at all, especially when all the evidence of the truth was out there. He was going to expose all the lies General Flynn was. And then all of a sudden, boom, here comes the administration. Oh yeah, we're going to put General Flynn in prison. Yeah, they did. Gleeson is recommending that the judge overseeing the case, U.S. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan, instead proceed to sentence the former Trump national security advisor on false statement charges he admitted 2.5 years ago and later resigned. What did he lie about? Alright, Judge Emmett Sullivan instead proceeded to sentence the former Trump national security. So they sentenced General Flynn for no reason at all, and it was a fake sentence. But even though General Flynn still went to jail for no reason, just because he was going to expose the lies. This is a man who is a general. You don't unmask a general. If they're not doing anything wrong and they're being truthful and they got all the evidence of the lies, you do not unmask a general, because they do not play around. The Flynn saga is one of the highest profile remaining legal matters facing Trump allies. It could drive up pressure on the president to pardon Flynn or commute his sentence in the heat of his re-election campaign. And this is not about re-election either. This is about General Flynn. And now they're making it as though, Trump is using it as a re-election. No. And Trump had every reason to pardon General Flynn because he was telling the truth. And everybody fell for it. Oh, yay, I'm glad General Flynn is gone, da-da-da. Yeah, okay, whatever. Wake the hell up, people. The facts surrounding the filing of the government's motion constitute clear evidence of gross prosecutorial abuse. They reveal an unconvincing effort to disguise as legitimate a decision to dismiss that it based solely on the fact that Flynn is a political ally of President Trump. Gleason wrote in a filing Wednesday with Sullivan, who formally tapped Gleason to weigh in as a friend of the court. So Gleason has been tapping in all this time, doing this and doing that. And I wonder why you got crooked judges in the court system, and this is why it's all messed up to begin with. The facts surrounding the filing of government's motion constitute clear evidence of gross prosecutorial abuse. What abuse are they? What are they meaning? That General Flynn committed abuse? No. Did the DOJ commit abuse? No. It's the judges. However, Gleason urged Sullivan not to pursue contempt proceedings against Flynn for seemingly contradictory statements made about his actions. Though there is ample evidence to support such a move, Gleason recommended factoring in to Flynn's sentencing for his initial guilty plea rather than initiating new action related to the foul face. Alright, so Gleason urged Sullivan not to pursue contempt proceedings against Flynn. Alright, so the judge told his little buddy, don't pursue contempt proceedings against Flynn. Okay, so they went back on their word and said, yeah, look, we changed our mind. We're gonna do the proceeding on General Flynn. We're gonna make sure he goes to jail. This is what the Obama administration want. Huh? Are you serious? Though there is ample evidence to support such a move, Gleason recommended factoring it into Flynn's sentencing for his initial guilty plea. So now they're still trying to say, General Flynn is guilty when he's not guilty? General Flynn is innocent. General Flynn knows all the real truth. General Flynn was going to expose the lies. Just because, and then the Obama administration are mad because they want General Flynn on their side. No. That wasn't going to happen. Obama was going to be exposed for everything he got involved with. That's why Obama didn't care about America. He only cared about his people in Indonesia and Kenya. Not Kenya, but Indonesia. That was it. The brief is a significant news flashpoint in the long-running legal saga surrounding Flynn, Trump's national security advisor. In the few weeks of his presidency, Trump fired Flynn in February 2017, citing his dishonesty with the FBI and with Vice President Mike Pence over his contacts with Russia's ambassador to the United States in the weeks before Trump took office. Well, excuse me, but there was no collusion with Russia. None whatsoever. They made that story up to make Donald Trump look bad. They said, oh, well, he colluded with Russia. Russia should be to blame for everything, so we don't get exposed, da-da-da. Trump fired Flynn because he thought that General Flynn was involved in some other stuff. And Trump thought that General Flynn was not being loyal to him when he was. So this is why the demons of hell, which are the shadow governments, they will do anything they can to stop Trump from moving forward. They are making up lies about him. The liberal media is making up lies about him, and you all cheering on the liberal media. Shame on you for doing that. Turn off your TVs for once, or that better yet, disconnect your cable if you have it, or go to Hulu, watch some movies over there, or Netflix. But get the heck away from the liberal media that are using people and brainwashing people to believe the lies. Flynn at the time urged Russia's envoy to limit its response to outgoing Obama administration measures to punish Russia for interfering in the 2016 election. The FBI interviewed Flynn about those calls days after Trump took office, part of a counterintelligence investigation into Trump campaign contacts with Russia. So now you got a liberal media, the FBI interviewed Flynn. So now you got the crooked FBI and the crooked liberal media that are making up all these lies and this and that. The FBI did interview Flynn about those calls days after Trump took office as part of a counterintelligence investigation into Trump campaign contacts with Russia. And Trump had no intentions of being involved with Russia because he knows they are the enemy. So Trump is smart. He knows what he's doing. And here, everybody is cheering on. Well, good, get rid of Trump. Get him out of office. He's a bad president. Blah, blah. Excuse me? No. You may want to do your research a little more and see who the real enemy is, because it's not Trump. Gleason spent much of brief recounting the events that precipitated Flynn's December 2017 guilty plea, abrupt reversal of DOJ's decision to drop the case. He noted that Trump tweeted about the case more than 100 times in the interim. So Gleason has spent much of brief recounting the events. General Flynn was used by the Obama administration to force him to plead guilty, and when he did, they took him away immediately, right to jail. That's what they did. They tricked him. This is why the shadow governments trick people. They don't care about you. They say, oh, we care about this and about... no, they don't. They're devils. And here you're voting for these devils? Are you serious? Everything about this is irregular, Gleason wrote. Yeah, of course he had to write that. President Trump today has the reviewable authority to issue a pardon, thus ensuring that Flynn is no longer prosecuted and never punished for his crimes because he is a friend and political ally, Gleason continued. But the instant of the executive branch filed a criminal charge against Flynn, it forfeited the right to implicate this court in the dismissal of that charge simply because Flynn is a friend and political ally of the president. Yes, Trump and General Flynn are friends. They're friends. And Trump has every right to pardon General Flynn because he's innocent. And here you're believing everything what the liberal media is saying. Oh boy, you really got some nerve to believe them. They do not tell the truth. They only care about destroying America. Wake up. Gleason, who served on the Manhattan federal court before stepping down in 2016, was appointed last month by Sullivan to keep him tackle the highly unusual Justice Department request to drop the criminal case against Flynn, despite the guilty plea he entered back in 2017 as part of a cooperation deal with special counsel Robert Mueller. Both Gleason and Sullivan are appointees of President Bill Clinton. Well, we kind of figured this was going to throw that in there. Sure, just throw Bill Clinton in the middle of all this. He has nothing to do with this case. Robert Mueller, on the other hand, is evil himself. He tricked Flynn to pleading guilty so he could have everything his way. Obviously, that wasn't going to. It only worked for so long until Trump pardoned General Flynn and exonerated him because Flynn did nothing wrong. Gleason and Sullivan are appointees of President Bill Clinton. Of course, they're the enemies of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is the enemy as well. So is his wife Hillary Clinton. Think about it. Barr ordered the reversal by the government following a review conducted at his request by a U.S. attorney in Missouri, Jeffrey Jensen. Jensen's review concluded that the FBI had no legitimate bias to interview Flynn at the January 24th, 2017 session, where he allegedly lied about his dealings with the Russian ambassador. Well, that's because they tricked him into it. That's what they did. They tricked General Flynn into lying. That's what happened. This is why the Obama administration, who are the shadow governments, of course, they trick people. They don't care about you. They laugh at you all the time. They expect you to believe everything what the liberal media is saying. Don't trust the liberal media. Barr ordered the reversal by the government following a review conducted at his request by a U.S. attorney in Missouri, which is Jeffrey Jensen. And Jensen's review concluded that the FBI had no legitimate bias to interview Flynn at the January 24th, 2017 session. So they lied and said, so the Obama administration said, oh yeah, well the FBI did interview him, blah, blah, blah. No, they did not, because Jensen reviewed it and concluded that the FBI had no legitimate bias to interview Flynn. So what does that tell you? And of course, Donald Trump was not involved with the Russians. No, he was not. It was the Obama administration who were involved with Russia. A Justice Department spokeswoman offered no specific reaction to Gleason's skewering of the department, instead referring to the government's legal briefs already on file. So there was legal briefs already on file about everything. Gleason's skewing of the department. All right, the Justice Department spokeswoman has ordered no specific reaction to Gleason's skewering. Well, they need to look into him and see how crooked he is. In a mid-May interview with CBS News, Barr denied carrying water for Trump and said he viewed the FBI's treatment of Flynn as improper, justifying his decision to seek dismissal of the charges. There's only one standard of justice, and I believe that that justice in this case requires dismissing the charges against General Flynn. Yes, they do need to dismiss the charges against Flynn because he don't deserve to. They had no right to unmask him. An innocent person to unmask? Are you serious? Are you freaking kidding me? The FBI's treatment of Flynn as improper, justifying his decision to seek dismissal of the charges. And of course, CBS, you notice, another lying news outlet, another lying liberal media. The recommendation from Gleason came just 2 days before a potentially pivotal hearing before a federal appeals court panel weighing a request from Flynn's attorneys to order Sullivan to drop the pending false statement case. Flynn's lawyers have accused the FBI and federal prosecutors of coercing Flynn's guilty plea through egregious misconduct and have also accused Sullivan of bias, asking the D.C. Circuit to resign the case to another judge for any further proceedings. So the recommendation from Gleason came just 2 days before a potentially pivotal hearing. So now they're asking, Flynn's lawyers have accused the FBI and federal prosecutors of coercing Flynn's guilty plea. In other words, they forced him to plead guilty when he was not guilty. And these false statements, yes, they need to be dropped against Flynn because they had no right putting false statements on General Flynn whatsoever. Federal appeals. Wait a minute. All right, so request. All right, the request from Flynn's attorneys to order Sullivan to drop the pending false statement case. So yeah, so that's what the lawyers are asking. The judge is to drop the case and then get another judge for further proceedings. If the D.C. Circuit sides with Flynn, the brutal brief Gleason tendered Wednesday couldn't be moot. One of the issues the appeals judges are considering is whether it was proper for Sullivan to invite the retired judge to weigh in. So now I am hoping that the D.C. Circuit sides with Flynn because, all these false statements against General Flynn, they had no right to do because he did nothing wrong, and yet he got accused of saying, or he got tricked into saying, well, Donald Trump is in collusion with Russia. No, he was not. They made up all these lies about General Flynn because General Flynn was going to expose the lies. He wasn't going to put up with it. If Flynn is sentenced on the false statement charge, he faces a maximum possible term of 5 years in prison. However, under the plea deal, prosecutors agreed that in accordance with non-binding federal sentencing guidelines, any term up to 6 months was reasonable. In a revised sentencing pleading that drew attention, prosecutors arguably softened their line further by saying they would not object to probation, despite concerns that Flynn's cooperation was not as extensive as promised. So now they're saying if General Flynn is sentenced on a false statement charge, he could face maximum possible of 5 years in prison, but they don't, and that's what they want to do with him. So this is what I mean with the Obama administration. They're evil. However, under the plea deal, prosecutors agreed that in accordance with non-binding federal sentencing guidelines, any term up to 6 months was reasonable. Now, I could understand the 6 months part, but 5 years? No. Because of these doggone Obama administration, see how evil they are? Sullivan had previously indicted he was inclined to sentence Flynn to a jail term, suggesting at a 2018 sentencing hearing that the former national security advisor had arguably sold your country out. The judge later retweeted from that remark. Also, now they're saying that General Flynn sold America out. Yeah, let me see the receipts on that one, because there is none. General Flynn would never sell out America. Why would General Flynn sell out America when you got the Obama administration, the Clinton administration, and other administrations? They're the ones that sold out America. Blame them. Don't blame General Flynn. It's the Obama administration and the Clinton administration who sold out America. They sold us. And this is why now the patriots are taking back this country that belongs to them. That belongs to all of us. These shadow governments have no right selling out the American people whatsoever. If he follows Gleason's recommendation, Sullivan could mete out a jail sentence that exceeds the initial recommendation of prosecutors. However, Trump could nullify any sentence with a pardon or commutation. So Trump does have a power to nullify any sentence with a pardon or a commutation. So he's allowed to do that. He is allowed to do that. Alright, so if he follows Gleason's recommendations, Sullivan could mete out of a jail sentence. Gleason's submission left largely unaddressed two issues that could still impact the case: whether prosecutors improperly withheld evidence in violation of an order from Sullivan to turn over our material that could be helpful to Flynn's defense, and whether Flynn's previous lawyers gave him bad legal advice in connection with his 2017 plea or the 2018 sentencing hearing. So they want to see. So Gleason's submission has left largely unaddressed two issues, and of course that could still impact the case. They want withheld evidence to violation of an order from Sullivan to turn over all materials that could be helpful to Flynn's defense. So General Flynn had evidence of everything, what was going on. I mean, from A to Z. He had everything, all the evidence, what was going on with the Obama administration, the Clinton Foundation, anything you could think of. He had everything, and yet here they tricked him and they say, oh, well, Donald Trump is this and that and blah, blah, blah. We're going to get Donald Trump to fire Flynn, and now that he's fired, and now we can get everything our way. It's not going to last too much longer with the Obama administration. Barr's move to abandon the criminal case against Flynn ignited a furor on Capitol Hill, where Democrats have accused him of rigging the process in favor of Trump's allies. It also led to an outcry from many in the legal community. including more than 2,000 former prosecutors and Justice Department employees who signed a letter accusing the Attorney General of politicizing the process. How? How is he politicizing the process if he's innocent of everything that he's doing right? And yet they're condemning this man still? Really? Barr's move to abandon the criminal case against Flynn ignited a furor on Capitol Hill. Of course, everybody on Capitol Hill was up in an uproar. Where Democrats have accused him of rigging the process. How is AG Barr rigging the process? How? He's not doing that. See, they're lying on William Barr. They're lying on General Flynn for something they know nothing about except all the truth that was there, and yet they turn it around. Switch their narrative and say, "Oh well, General Flynn is this and that." Attorney General Barr is igniting favor of Capitol Hill, where he's rigging the process, this and that. But this is what the evil shadow governments do. They switch narratives. Various individuals and groups have filed a flurry of amicus briefs with Sullivan or the appeals court, offering a range of perspectives on the case. So they had various individuals and groups, all right, and they have filed a flurry of amicus briefs and Sullivan or the appeals court. So that's what they were up to. In one notable brief filed Tuesday night, a traditionally liberal group urged Sullivan not to undertake perjury-related contempt proceedings against Flynn. The National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers said innocent defendants face intense pressure to plead guilty in the federal system, and they should not be exposed to contempt or perjury if they try to withdraw their pleas. So yes, and I agree with that part. The National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers said innocent defendants face intense pressure to plead guilty. So they pressured General Flynn into pleading guilty when the whole time it was the Obama administration who was doing all the colluding with Russia and everything else. And of course, and also down here it says they should not be exposed to contempt or perjury if they try to withdraw their pleas. So General Flynn had been innocent the whole time, and here the Obama administration had tricked him into making him plead guilty, and just to get him out of the way so they can go after Trump. Because defendants must now choose. All right, wait a minute. Let me start that over. Because defendants now must choose between admitting the government's allegations or risking a much higher sentence. If a jury returns a guilty verdict, there is no justification for presuming that guilty pleas are truthful. Then CDL brief argued. So now you got defendants now must choose between admitting the government's allegations or risking a much higher sentence. I would go with the allegations because they have lied. The Obama administration, they're devils, they're evil, they don't care about nobody. They want to throw innocent people in jail for no reason at all. When the innocent people know the truth. So this is why they were throwing everybody in jail left and right, firing this people, firing those people. And yet here the Obama administration take no responsible for it. Think about it. If as the Department of Justice now concedes Flynn succumbed to the pressure to plead guilty, even though he was legally innocent, he is hardly unique. His decision to do that is no way obstructed justice or interfered with the judicial function. It is not by any stretch a contemptuous act, the group added. So you got the Department of Justice now concedes Flynn succumbed to the pressure of the guilty plea, even though he was legally innocent. So that means General Flynn was innocent legally. He was doing everything by the books legally. He wasn't doing illegal stuff like the Obama administration was. Because you know where that's going. They don't want to take responsibility for anything. They kind of figure, well, we're going to do this and do that, and we're going to get this person, that person. Yeah, they tricked Flynn into pleading guilty when he's been innocent the whole time with all the evidence. The brief, which seemed to remain neutral on the question of whether Flynn was getting special treatment from DOJ, did not address specific answers. Flynn gave under oath to a question asked in court by Sullivan and another judge previously assigned to the case in a written declaration submitted under penalty of perjury in January. Flynn retreated from or reversed many of those admissions. So there was a brief which seemed to remain neutral on the questions whether Flynn was getting special treatment from the DOJ. No, he wasn't. He wasn't getting no special treatment. He was only doing what he had to do, and that was tell the truth. He wasn't going to lie for anybody, especially for no Obama administration, that's for sure. Did not address specific answers. Flynn gave under oath to questions asked in court by Sullivan and another judge previously assigned to the case. So the two crooked judges, yeah, they're the ones that turn around and decided, well, say, oh, General Flynn, you got this many years in jail. So 3 years later, Flynn came out of jail, was released from prison, and he was exonerated by Donald Trump. Parts of the brief from the defense lawyers group seemed intended to serve as a reminder to Gleason that he has publicly criticized the federal justice system's reliance on negotiated plea deals, which render trials a rarity in many courts. So parts of the brief from the defense lawyers group seemed intended to serve as a reminder. So they have to remind Gleason that he has publicly criticized the federal justice system. Well, the federal justice system is kind of crooked, but then you never know what's really going on with them because, you know, they don't really tell the truth either. Flynn's allies have argued that Gleason was a poor choice to advise the court because just days before receiving the friend of the court appointed, he co-authored an op-ed in Washington Post decrying Barr's decision to seek to jettison the case. So Flynn's allies, they have argued that Gleason was a poor choice to advise the court. Oh, of course he was a poor choice because he was crooked. And here you people, and here all you non-Americans want to play games and say, oh, my Obama did it, yay. Yeah, get the hell out of here. Flynn's lead lawyer, Sidney Powell, downplayed the new filing on Wednesday. In an email to Politico, she dismissed Gleason's submission as completely predictable. So she dismissed Gleason's submission as completely predictable. Sidney Powell downplays the new filing on Wednesday, which today that she has done. So now you've got these crooked judges that are going to do what they can to get General Flynn back in prison again. And you know they're not, and General Flynn is not going anywhere because he was legally innocent with all the evidence that he had against the Obama administration for those 8 years. Everything. From bottom to top or top to bottom, whatever way you want to call it. But he had everything on them. And yet here the Obama administration is blaming Trump for everything that he did not do. Where does that fit into all this? Trump had nothing to do with anything. Trump is innocent, just like General Flynn is innocent. And yet here they decided, well, we're going to throw Flynn in the hoosegow, in other words, the jail. And we're going to go after or go after Donald Trump again. Well, yeah, nice try, but that ain't going to work this time. Then, of course, now you got Joe Biden saying that, well, Donald Trump is the worst president. Oh, yeah, okay, right. Is that why he's helping the black community? Huh, Joe Biden? They're doing everything they can to get Trump out of office, right? And every single one of them failed. The fake impeachment, that failed. And you know who's doing that is Pelosi. Her fake impeachment failed. Now they're blaming all these riots and looting on Trump, and he has nothing to do with it. It's them, the evil ones that are doing it, the shadow governments that are evil. They're the ones that are doing all this. And of course, you know, George Soros is right in the middle of everything, funding all these damn foundations and that. The Open Society Foundation, Antifa, BLM, everything you could think of that George Soros has funded. So what does that tell you? Donald Trump is innocent. He has nothing to do with any of this. Leave your comments below. I am out.